Hey there, everybody. My name is Isaac Fuller, and glad to have you joining us today. Wow, you guys are just flowing in. Glad to have you. Trying to wave at everyone as you come in. So, here we go. We're going to add a few people to Francell and Madi, who are currently ARDs in Mayfield Residence Hall, the all-girls dorm on campus, as well as Hutchison Hall, which is the guys and girls kind of Christian co-ed dorm that we have on campus. Like I said, I'm Isaac Fuller. I lived in J. Alvin Hall, and I am currently a admissions counselor here at JVU. So glad you guys are all here. So I'll kind of talk to the J. Alvin perspective as an ex-J. Alvin man. Francell, are you connected yet? Look at all these lovely faces. Oh, Francell left. Maybe she'll be back in a second. If you guys want to comment any questions, we'd be happy to talk about those. So just comment those below or put them in the question area. There's Francell.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? I've been talking this whole time, so I assumed everyone could hear me.
Hey guys.
Hi, Madi.
Hello.
Do you guys want to just briefly introduce yourselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Awesome.
hi. My name is Francell Palma, and I am a senior here in JBU. I'm studying business management and entrepreneurship, and I'm excited to see the questions you guys have about JBU.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I'm Madi. I am a junior here at JBU. I'm studying Family and Human Services. I'm the ARD in Hutch Hall, the co-ed dorm. And yeah, I'm from Wisconsin, so up north. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. We really appreciate you being here. Just to kick it off, before we get any official questions from the audience, just could you guys define the terms res life, RD, ARD, RA? What do all those terms mean? You guys can kind of tag team them.
Yeah.
Well, I can start with ours, Maddie, if that's okay. So in our case, we are both ARDs. So we are resident director assistants. So we work with the person that's in charge of the entire building. And we work directly with RAs, which are resident assistants, which Maddie can explain to you guys in a little bit. But in our case, our role is just to be there for RAs and support them and lead them. And we also take initiative into the all hall events that you guys get to experience with all the people that live in your dorm. So
Yeah, awesome. So I will explain the RA position. So that is the team in each building of leadership, student leadership. And so it's about 8 to 14, depending on the building, of student leaders that are each placed in a specific hall or suite, and they're in charge of just a smaller group of students, and they just act as a touch point, a person to get to know, to build community that can point you in certain directions on campus of things that you might want to get involved in. They would probably know some people to connect you with. They also act just as a friend or someone to talk to as you're transitioning into college life, because that can be a big change. And they also plan events for just your hall as well as the whole team. And the ARDs and the RDs, we all work together to plan like the whole dorm building events. And so those are just to build community. So RAs are really there to build community, as well as do more practical things like submit work requests if something in your room is broken or not working well. They're kind of your main touch point, kind of the first responder, if you will. And then the resident director is someone who's graduated and older than us, and they oversee the whole team. They more act as like they work with disciplinary things, and are a little less relational with the students, but more so with the RA team. But they're great. They're just really solid people. We love them a lot. And so that in whole is called Residence Life. So that is just like our teams made up of those different roles. That's called Residence Life, and Res Life for short. And yeah, we just act as people to create belonging here on campus and just create a space where people can connect with one another.
That's awesome, guys. Thanks for defining those terms and kind of tag teaming that. Next on the agenda is just telling some facts about your halls. So I'll tell some facts about J. Alvin since I live there, and then you guys can each take a turn talking about your specific dorm. So J. Alvin is actually the oldest building, academic and residence life building on campus. It was built originally in 1921, so 2 years after JBU was founded. So this year is actually J. Alvin's centennial year, so 100 years of J. Alvin. So we're getting ready to celebrate that in just tomorrow, actually, with the J. Alvin Christmas party. So that's really exciting. Additionally, J. Alvin is the all men's dorm on campus, and their motto is redeeming manhood. So that's really what we try to do in J. Alvin, is just create a space for men to be formed, to be more like Christ in our relationships and in our events and in really everything we do. So it's really specifically geared toward that. Another thing is one of the, probably the third or fourth, maybe the fifth largest indoor space on campus is the J. Alvin Atrium, which is the big middle part of J. Alvin. So there's three wings and then a big middle space that's called the atrium. So a really great space to throw a frisbee, play some indoor soccer. Really anything you can think of, play a board game is a great indoor space for that. We also use that for our J. Alvin manhood dinners. So you guys can go tell a few facts about your dorms.
Yeah, awesome. So in my case, I live in Mayfield, which is a residence hall where approximately 250 women live. And it's a pretty fun and special place to live. It's a U-shaped building, and there's 6 different halls. And on each hall, there's I live in the longest one, which is approximately 30 girls. And it's just a super awesome environment to live in. We strive to live with the theme of empowering women. So we get to be there to support one another, and just it's an all girls dorm, so you get to be with a lot of different girls from a lot of different countries and states, and it's just a really fun place to live and to get to learn from other people who are different from you. So yeah,
That's awesome. Thanks, Francell. Yeah, so I live in Hutchison Hall. We are the newest dorm building on campus, built in 2004. So a little while ago, but still nice. It's 4 stories and it's co-ed. So this year we have the first and second floor are guys, and third and fourth floor are women. And that just creates a really unique dynamic. Definitely a family feel down here. It's just a sweet place to be. Something that's interesting, a fun fact about Hutch, is when it was designed, the architects made it resemble little pieces of the other 3 dorm buildings on campus. And so on each floor, we have en suites, we have regular halls, and we have a U shape. And each one of those are to represent how the other dorm buildings are set up. So the en suites act as a J. Alvin setup, the hall rooms act as a Walker setup, and the U acts as a Mayfield setup. So it's kind of cool. There are just different ways to live in different designs for rooms in our building. So it's kind of fun. Each room looks a little bit different. And then there are 2 main lobby spaces on the first floor and the 3rd floor. And those are always just super busy. There are a lot of people down there playing games. Sometimes there's spike ball. We've had frisbee, football, things like that down there, but also card games, board games, as well as time to do homework and stuff. So we get a little bit of everything, which is super fun.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for giving kind of a little brief overview of of your dorms. Next thing we're going to talk about is just what is the vibe of your hall in one word, and then why you chose that word. So, Maddie, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So I would say the vibe of Hutch is family. And I choose that word because we just, it's a space that you just know everyone, like you at least recognize them. Um, and it's so fun because as you're like out and about in the building, like in the common spaces, there's always going to be someone like available to hang out or talk to. Um, and everyone's just so friendly and willing to like wanting to get to know you and desiring to build community. So yeah, it's just a space where you can enjoy quiet time in your room or in one of the common spaces, or you can like throw a party and have a bunch of fun and play a bunch of games and stuff. So it's a really sweet dynamic of like comfort as well as fun.
So awesome.
Francell, what's your word?
In our case, I think it's like a thoughtful environment. Like you get to meet a lot of girls who are genuinely there for you. I've personally had the opportunity and the blessing to meet a lot of girls who have been of spiritual and personal encouragement during my time here at JVU. And something that's very special is to see that these relationships that I've gotten to build here while living in my dorm are relationships that I get to see are gonna be there for me even post graduation, which I think is an amazing opportunity. So, yeah.
Love that.
Awesome. And I don't live in J. Alvin anymore, like I said, but as I was thinking about this, I think the word I would choose is active because there's just always something going on in J. Alvin. Like I mentioned in the atrium, there's always some activity happening in each of the individual suites throughout J. Alvin. You might be there on any given night, and you might walk through and someone's having a movie night. There's some guys playing board games. You might be walking to another one, and some guys are playing video games. Another one, people are doing homework. So any day of the week, any time you're in J. Alvin, there's just always something going on. And so I would say there's always something to be a part of, some place that you can plug into, whether that's a Wednesday night growth group Bible study happening in the basement, or like I said, an indoor soccer game in the atrium on a random Tuesday. So there's always something to do in J. Alvin, so that's why I chose the word active. For you guys, you are now ARDs, but you both were RAs before. And so I want to say, what was your favorite thing about being an RA for your halls?
Yeah, I can go. Um, I would say my favorite thing about being an RA was just seeing the growth that happens throughout the semester and through the year. Because I think it's just so crazy to see, like on move-in day, everyone just meeting each other and trying to find like where do I fit in, who do I hang out with, who do I talk to, and then see how that progresses throughout the semester and just see like the people that you start to run with and the people that you start to connect with is just a really sweet experience to watch and also be a part of. And so I love that about our job is just we're able to connect people who maybe haven't found a niche yet. RAs act as a really great like connecting point because they'll know like a growth group or a club or a sport or something that you can get involved in that'll really fit what you're looking for. So I just have loved to see the growth and just what the girls have learned through my time with them and who they start to hang out with. It's a really sweet opportunity.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that's really awesome. Another thing that's very awesome when you're an RA is that you get to plan both a social and a spiritual event per month. So these are just ways for the different people in the hall to get to know one another and just like here on campus as a spiritually focused campus, like also having that aspect of how we can encourage one another in our spiritual growth, which is really, really special. So I think when I was in RA, just being able to create that space where people get to both have fun, but at the same time be encouraged to grow in their relationship with Christ was very, very rewarding. So, yeah, and it's really to to see them growing during that time here at JVU. So yeah.
I couldn't agree more, guys. In my 2 years as an RA in Jalvin, those were definitely some of my favorite things about being a resident assistant. Just being able to walk with a group of guys and help them and really watch the Lord work in their hearts and in their lives was one of my favorite things. So much of it was me realizing that it wasn't me doing anything, it was just the Lord working, and I got to be a part of that and just watch it happen. We did get a question, and it is from _FaithRoy_. What are some fun things students do around campus?
Yeah, great question.
Anything come to mind really off the top of your head, guys?
Ground floor. There's a coffee shop on campus, so a lot of people go there for coffee dates or just for working on homework. We have a lot of great hammock places on campus, so people like hammocking, even when it's cold. So yeah, like you get to have fun with that. Those are two that come to mind. Do you have more, Maddie? You can add up.
I thought about like the intramural sports. A lot of people love those. I think there's like flag football and soccer and futsal and volleyball. There are a lot, pickleball. Lots of different sport options for our athletes out there. Yeah, lots of just like hanging out, chatting. What else? Man, you're putting me on the spot. There are different
Yeah,
clubs. There's like a diversity club. There's there's like worship nights and different like talk back sessions that like Res Life sometimes puts on, or the Office of Christian Formation. Um, yeah,
there's
what else?
also there's also a whole organization called Student Events and
Yeah.
Activities,
Hmm.
and their job it's a group of about 6 or 7 students, and their job is to create fun activities. About every other weekend they have something fun going on. So I think that just this past weekend they had a Christmas party in the
Hmm.
Walker Student Center, which was a big hit. I think they also help co-host the International Food Festival, which is a big hit each fall. We get to kind of see the different foods that are represented by the people who are students at JBU. I always love that event. You pay
Yeah.
like $3 and get to try food from all over the world without even buying a plane ticket. So it's pretty great. What are I think there was another question, but I wanted to ask one more to you guys. Are there any specific events that you guys look forward to that your hall does every year?
Mm, that's a great question.
One that comes to mind is Mayfield J. Alvin Fall Fest.
Mm,
So something that's nice is that many times within dorms you get to know other people. So in our case with Mayfield being an all girls dorm, we get to have different events with J. Alvin, which is like the all guys dorm. So both girls and guys get to know one another, and we have like the Fall Fest. So like recently we bought a lot of different pies, and we had like a pumpkin carving competition, and then people got like whipped cream put on their faces as the prize, and yeah, it was a very fun time. So we have events like that happen within the dorms.
so fun. I think the main one that comes to mind for Hutch is the Hutch Hall Hill Hall, which is so fun. It's like, so Hutch is at the bottom of a little hill on campus, and there's like in the spring semester, I believe it's during midterms week, if I'm not mistaken, um, the like President Pollard and his wife Carrie and some other staff members on campus or faculty members come with their like with golf carts and like drive the residents up the hill. So we'll have like breakfast in the dorm as you're like leaving to go to classes, and like hot pancakes and stuff like that. And then you get to like hop on a golf cart with President Pollard or Carrie or someone else that you know, and like ride the golf cart up to class, which is just a fun way to start the day. So I think that's a big hit that everyone looks forward to every year.
That's a great one. I kind of forgot about that because I never lived in Hutch, but
Yeah.
I've seen the golf carts, and that's a fun event. I think for Jay Alvin, there are two that really come to mind. One is I mentioned it a little bit earlier is the Jay Alvin Christmas party. So that happens every year. Each of the suites of J. Alvin decorates around a common theme that they come up with, and then they just really go all out. So my freshman year, we decorated it. We were Santa's kitchen, so we were making cookies in our suite. The second year, we were a crime scene investigators, so we were all dressed up as policemen and investigators, and that was our suite theme. Some people do like a movie night theme, so a lot of different things that really can bring out a lot of creativity. And then the second big thing that we look forward to every year in J. Alvin that comes to mind is the J. Alvin Wiffle Ball Tournament. So another use of the J. Alvin atrium, we play wiffle ball inside. If you get it up to the first floor, it's a single. Second floor is a double. And if you hit it out past the ping pong table, you get a home run. So that's a really fun event. All the suites play against each other and until it gets down to the final two. And so a lot of people will come watch that, and that's a really fun event. But thanks for sharing, guys. So one other question that came in, I saw, what is move-in day like? And since we're talking about residence life, what is move-in day like when you're coming into the residence halls?
Yeah. Yeah, so I can chime in a little bit on that. So, yeah, after you get on campus, there are a couple steps that happen, but once you get to the residence hall, there's a team of student leaders that will help you move your stuff in. So they'll be there to welcome you to the dorm, and there's music playing and it's fun. It's just like, welcome to JVU, and they all like carry your stuff up to your room for you, which is so nice. Just because a lot of times it can take a while if it's just you or just you and your family. So it's really fun. So all of your stuff pretty much gets taken like right away, and they get it all up to your room, and then they kind of just leave you to it. And then you can kind of start to unpack, and your RA will come introduce themselves, and you'll meet them and kind of get to know them a little bit. And then from there, your RA would be your main touch point within the residence hall, like if you have any questions and stuff like that. And then within that week, there are usually a couple meetings to just run through what life looks like in your residence hall, what you can expect, what rules we have set in place to keep a safe and healthy environment, and all of that stuff. So it's kind of a whirlwind. There's a lot that goes on, but it's super fun. And it's just a fun time to celebrate a new season of life.
Francell, anything to add?
Yeah, I think the only thing, like at least here in Mayfield, whenever you come and like once you're settled in, at nighttime we have a cereal night. So the very first night you get to the residence building, you are gonna have like an all hall event, and that's just put it for all of you guys coming in to get to know one another since the very first night, and just to start building connections since the very first day you get to campus. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. For J. Alvin, all of those things are true. I think all of the residence halls do this, but the night of move-in, there's a big event for all the incoming freshmen, and in J. Alvin we would do it all together in the atrium, and we would have cereal, and so we'd have like this big kind of mix and mingle, an extroverts paradise and introverts worst nightmare. But it's a big kind of mix and mingle event just to meet a lot of different people. You get to say your name, your major, and where you're from about 35 times. But it's a really fun event to just start those relationships. It's the very, very first steps in those college relationships that you never know where you're going to go. I remember I met a friend during that cereal night, and he was actually an RA when I was a freshman, and we became best friends. And I never would have known it that night, but I met him. We played some spike ball, and then 3 years later, we became just like the best of friends. So I think that's a really, really cool thing about move-in day is you don't know the people that you meet who are going to be just amazing friends and who you're never really going to talk to again, which is a kind of interesting thing.
Yeah.
So we had another question come in, I think. And I can answer a couple of them. Freshmen move in, yeah. So freshmen move in about a week before classes start, so they get to have freshman orientation. and all that sort of thing. And then the returning students move in about 1 or 2 days before classes start. One of my favorite things right before classes start is it's an all campus worship night. So
Mm-hmm.
all of campus will come together. The returning sophomores, juniors, and seniors, along with the new freshmen, all get to worship together the day before the semester starts. That's definitely a highlight right around move-in time. But yes, the freshmen move in early. And then, Maddie, do you want to talk about how the temperatures are controlled in each room?
Yeah, absolutely. So each room you have a thermostat for your, yeah, just for your space, which is super nice. So whether or not you have a roommate depends kind of what you guys decide between yourselves of what you'd like to keep your room at in the daytime, nighttime, whatever you decide. Um, Sometimes it's helpful to talk through that with your roommate because I know some people like it super warm in the room, some people like it super cold. So sometimes you have to make a little bit of a compromise there. But it's super nice that you're in control of the temperature in your room. So
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, that's perfect.
yeah.
Another important thing to think about is what do I bring to campus? So there's a lot of things that are obvious, but what is one thing that is kind of a unique thing that you would suggest to bring, and what is one thing that you probably shouldn't bring with you? Francell, do you have those two things?
Yes. I think for your bedroom, a mattress topper would be ideal just for you to have a really good night rest. And if you're someone who likes to cook and you want to bring, like, you feel free to bring your pans and like all your cooking supplies. But here in Mayfield, we have something called the Mayfield Market. So we keep a lot of these different utensils for you to borrow during nighttime if you want to cook. And yeah, like those are some things you could save some space for as you're packing.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that you should bring a rug. Like they just change the game in your room. Sometimes, I know in Hutch we have like tiled floors, so having a rug just makes it really cozy and homey, and it just makes it a really welcoming space. And then for Hutch at least, I recommend to leave TVs at home just because we do have TVs in the dorm building to like go use at any time. But I think it's just a sweet opportunity to be, well, while you're in college, to just be intentional about studies as well as the relationships you're building and the clubs you're getting involved in. And I don't know, I think it's just really important to be diligent about seeking community and finding your people. And like Isaac said earlier, there's just a sweetness about not knowing who you're meeting right then, but it could be your best friend, like your lifelong best friend. It could be someone you might not talk to again, but it's at least a familiar face, you know, another name. So we just really love to be intentional with community here at JVU. And yeah, so I just think it'd be fun to invite like friends to do TV in like the common spaces instead of in your room. That's my personal opinion.
That's great. I think for me that when I was thinking about this question, one thing that's so important is in every situation is lighting.
Mhm.
And so in the residence hall rooms, they have great bright lights, but sometimes
Mhm.
they can be a little overpowering. You might notice that both Francell and Maddie don't have their overhead lights on.
Yeah.
So I would say bring some sort of lighting. So either that's Christmas lights, a lamp, some way to kind of have some warm lighting in your room. That's always a great thing.
Mhm.
And then something to not bring. Um, I would say, yeah, similar to what Francel said, kind of just in general, you don't really need much cooking supplies, even if you are a cook. So you don't really, you're not even allowed to have several things like a toaster or like a microwave, toaster oven. So don't worry about bringing those things because those are all supplied for you in the residence halls, in the kitchens. Each of the residence halls has at least one kitchen. Several of them have two or three. Um, so I would say that those cooking supplies, you can just leave those at home, and
Mhm.
that we'll supply those for you. Um, One last question before we sign off, guys. So how are you a resource for your residents? Maybe right now as an ARD, but also in the past as an RA. What sort of things are you able to provide for your residents?
Yeah. I can go, yeah. Um, so I the couple things that I have on the list, one is the closet that we provide. Like Mayfield has the Mayfield Market. We have our RHA closet, which is, yeah, just has like cooking supplies, vacuums, various cleaning supplies, um, different games you can rent out, outdoor activities, stuff like that, that we have that can kind of save space as you're packing and getting ready to move over here. RAs also work or serve as event planners. Sometimes they'll like leave something outside of your door just as a sweet surprise at a random time in the semester. Sometimes they'll plan Bible studies or game nights, movie nights, just times to connect with other men or women on your hall. Um, they also can act as mediators. Sometimes there's roommate conflict, and your RA is just a great resource to just go talk it through with someone who can give you some helpful advice of next steps to take as you're navigating that. Just because living with someone new can be really hard just because you're not used to it. I know it was for me. It's very normal. So they're just a really helpful resource to process things, and also someone to pray for you. You can just know that your RAs love you so much, and they got this job because they're passionate about student life and seeing you guys succeed and walking through this season of life with you. And so, yeah, they just want to come alongside you. So those are ways I thought of that RAs can support you.
Yeah, I think Maddie summarized them pretty well. But I think, yeah, like just having that on mind when you come here to campus, like not feeling like you have to fix everything yourself because you have people, um, like your different RAs, the ARD, like we're all here to help support you on the process of you getting used to a completely new place. We know like there's a lot of things that are going to be new, that might be challenging, and just know like you can come, like most RAs have their own room, so it's a pretty safe place for you to come and talk things through, like Maddie said. And we just love to be able to be there and like to pray for you, to encourage you. And there's also a lot of different RAs who are international students. So like you, if students are going through culture shock or just want to process different things about the new place that they're in, like they can also feel free to reach out when it comes to that. So there's a lot of diversity in the personalities of the RAs. So even if you live in a different hall, like you can come to a different RA from a different hall, and like we're all gonna be there to support you no matter where you're living. So I think that's a pretty encouraging thing to keep in mind as you get to transition here to JVU.
Yeah, well, you guys hit all the highlights of that question. So thank you guys so much for spending your time, and I hope all of you guys who came to join learned a little bit about what JBU residence life is and a little bit about each of our residence halls. If you guys have further questions, feel free to reach out, send a direct message to JBU admissions, and we'd love to follow up with you guys and talk more about what JBU life is like. So Maddie and Francell, thank you guys so much. And
So,
this is us signing off. Bye,
Yes.
everyone.
Bye,
bye.
guys.